Reducing risk, Ukraine and human rights, the 3 points of contention between the EU and China. Beijing is once again opening its doors for business and the European Union. Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and French President Emmanuel Macron are its guests. But while China seeks to intensify trade ties, the EU wants to gradually become less dependent. De-risk without decoupling. This is the main focus of the bilateral meeting between China and the EU.
So over the last 10 years, the European Union's trade deficit has more than tripled. It reached almost 400 billion euros last year. And we discussed that because this trajectory is not sustainable and the underlying structural issues need to be addressed.
But decoupling won't be easy. In 2022, China was the EU's third largest partner in terms of exports and the largest in terms of imports, a trade volume that von der Leyen puts at 2.3 billion euros per day.
The real concern on the Chinese side is precisely that Europe will take a view of China, firstly, that given the security and political developments that Europe is seeing, that it will impose a set of tightened restrictions when it comes to particularly technology access, which I think China's counted on being able to continue to acquire from Europe.
The second point of contention is the relationship with Russia. Clearly, this visit has a commercial engagement agenda, but also a diplomatic one. After several years of isolation from the world as a result of its zero-COVID policy, there is a collective effort to begin to re-engage China at the highest levels. And the most pressing engagement for Europe is for Beijing to play a more constructive role in the war in Ukraine.
China ensuring that Russia sees sense, that essentially China is able to operate either as a broker, to try and encourage peace talks, to try to act as a restraining influence on Russia.
Or at least that it commits to not escalate the conflict.
Le nucléaire soit exclu totalement de ce conflit, qu'il y ait le respect de l'ensemble des traités internationaux en la matière et qu'en aucun cas il ne puisse y avoir de déploiement d'armes nucléaires en dehors du territoire des États dotés, en particulier en Europe.
The third point of contention is human rights, a disagreement that has led the EU to place sanctions on China over Beijing's alleged abuses of ethnic and religious minorities in the Western region. To which China responded in kind by placing sanctions on the EU.
I expressed our deep concerns about the deterioration of the human rights situation in China. The situation in Xinjiang is particularly concerning. It is important that we continue to discuss these issues, and I therefore welcome that we have already resumed the EU-China human rights dialogue.
Despite the differences of opinion, there are some areas where they agree to cooperate, such as the climate.
Mais ce n'est pas parce que nous avons des différences qu'on ne peut pas les évoquer d'abord, les partager de manière très franche, mais le faire en étant respectueux, en considérant pas en quelque sorte que l'un aurait des leçons à donner à l'autre.